Most people in the world are using either macOS, Windows 11, or some kind of a Linux distribution. Long story short, I have found shameless knockoffs of these mainstream operating systems. The first one is a Windows knockoff called... It was a Linux distro which was supposed to be a free alternative to Windows that can also run Windows programs using Wine. Microsoft heard about this and they didn't like the name Lindows. They claimed that it was a bit too similar to Windows and that it would confuse the customers. So they sued the company behind Lindows in late 2001. The legal battle dragged on until 2004 when Microsoft paid $20 million to settle the case. In exchange for that, the Lindows trademark was handed over to Microsoft, and the distro was rebranded as Linspire, which is what the newer versions were called. That's a brief history of Lindows. Now let's boot it up. That's such a weird sound, okay. Your Windows OS computer is ready to run. I was then greeted with an audio tutorial on how to use the operating system. This tutorial was built using Adobe Flash, as I later found out. What is this and why is it so big? Windows is running a heavily customized version of KDE 3, a desktop environment. Everything here is quite customizable. What even are these options? Unclutter Windows. The Windows control panel looks like a renamed KDE control center. What a surprise! On Windows, you are logged in as the root user by default. I'm not sure why do we have only 3 resolutions. We have to restart the computer. Windows comes with this weird splash screen every time you shut down. A big feature of Windows was its click and run. It was a service that allowed you to quickly find programs and then install them on your system. Basically like an app store. It was a paid membership service of $49.95 a year that allowed you to download free open source software or simply buy some kind of programs. It is also placed as a separate button in every section of the start menu. Moving further, creating a folder has this cool animation. I just wanted to show it off. I guess it's a pretty useless detail. Okay, let's check out some programs. Windows uses Conqueror, how do you say it? Which is a file browser and a web browser in one package. CD burner, CD player, MP3 player. When I first saw this, I thought it looked way too similar to Winamp. XMMS is apparently like a clone of Winamp, but for Linux systems. Then what I found surprising is that you can open up the start menu and just detach a section, just like that. But I guess this is more of a KDE 3 feature than Windows. What is this Live West? Oh, it's a guide, okay. That explains the icon. Then there is another internet browser which is called Windows Internet Suite. This is apparently just a renamed version of the Mozilla Internet Suite. Mail, Instant Messenger, what? They have copied Microsoft Messenger, powered by Gaim. This is also just a reskinned version of Gaim, the instant messaging client for Linux. Then I found out that you can use the terminal inside of the file browser. Touch file.txt. You can create a file right from the trash. What else we have? Games. Potato guy, what is that? Here you just dress up a random potato. I don't get the point of this game. But now we have to check out a macOS knockoff, which is called... They have ripped off the macOS loading screen, and right at a first glance it looks exactly like macOS, especially the dock and its icons. They are identical. Finder is called Files, and this one is called Epiphany, P-Message, and this one is called Peer TV. So here we can see we have a control center. Also, excuse me, but everything is super laggy. But it might be just because I have misconfigured something. So it's a Peer OS Monterey, named after the macOS Monterey. And there's also something about Peer books, yeah. I don't think that these are actually real. The only thing that I found when googling for Peer books is that computers called Peer books were featured in Nickelodeon shows like iCarly or Henry Danger. Oh, my childhood. So maybe this is just a joke. Anyway, let's check out Launchpad. What the hell is
What in this
Peary?
loud
They
house
have
are you
got their own
doing?
AI
I came here
assistant.
to let
Listen
you
for
know what
Hey
day it's
Peary.
coming.
Imagine
Which day?
someone telling this to their peer book in public. So this dock is called Latte Dock, and this top menu panel is also together with Latte Dock. I wanna see Peer TV. Can I do that? If I press on this downloads folder, it turns the whole dock white. We can actually turn everything off and we would get a regular KDE Plasma desktop. Also, what? There's a PROS release called Tixer. Why would you call it that? This control center, I don't like it. I hate it because it's clunky and you specifically have to press on this X button to close it. Also, I like how I'm running this on real macOS. I don't think the icons are supposed to look like that. So PROS is pretty much just regular KDE Plasma with a macOS skin on top of it. But now, similar to how Windows and macOS had a knockoff version of them, I also wanted to do something with Linux as well. There is a meme Linux distro called... This meme is probably irrelevant in 2025. I hope so, at least. I never actually liked Among Us as a game and as a meme. I hated those memes. That aside, this distro seems pretty cool at a first glance, so let's check it out anyways. There are some icons on the desktop and one of them is Steam. Turns out I have to download it. Okay, everything has to be downloaded from Steam. Or I guess not this one. So what is this? Okay, so this is Minecraft Raspberry Pi edition and I'm running it on Amogos. I have to use the keyboard for this one because it's really hard with the mouse. Yeah, I remember Minecraft looking like this. Username imposter. This is my username by default for some reason. I want some information on this operating system OS release. So this is based on Debian Linux. And for the desktop environment, this is running the LXDE desktop environment. Or I think D stands for desktop environment. Display settings. It might look a lot better, but the dock has not changed positions and it is stuck. I tried to change that, but I was greeted with this setting. Team, P News, PP Small. I love this operating system. What do we have here? About me, about myself. Full name Amogos. First name Amogos. Initials SOS. Oh, check this out. There's Firefox on this operating system. There's also SOS IDE, which is like Visual Studio Code. We have the wallpaper of Blue Imposter. Have a saucy Christmas. Why is there Windows 11 wallpapers? Oh, there's a sauce. There's an imposter right there. Okay. Let's, I guess, stick to this one. What is this file? Why does it say run me HTML? Let's check it out. Oh my god. Okay. I see. YouTube has messed up Rickrolls. You have to accept this thing. By the time you have accepted everything and you have watched an ad, of course, as well, you already know that it's gonna be a Rickroll. YouTube messed it up, man. Okay. We can use the saucy search bar. Sauce IDE. Print saucy. And how do I run it? Our code works and I'm a genius. Anyway, check out this video on trying unreleased Windows versions and I'll see you there, possibly, if you click on it.
This one is a big plus for the convention, but there's been an uptick of people selling AI art at conventions. AI slop, which is a big boo. But this convention did a big W. This is a post that I saw about it, posted to Threads, written by Karen Hallion Art. Karen writes, DragonCon is the best. Support human art. And it is a photo of a convention booth, except the artist is gone. And there's a big cardboard sign that says, vendor removed for selling AI images, hashtag art by humans. And a bunch of people, it looks like, has added extra stuff to this booth. There's some tape that says, AI is not art, in quotes. Another one says, just say no to AI slop. Another image says, all my homies hate AI. Boo this man, hashtag art by humans. A cute little dragon, although the words are a little too small for me to read. A sick doodle. And then this big, big sign that says El Bozo Cope Seeth. This is too funny. Conventions historically has been a space where artists can sell their art, hard work, and creations, not stupid AI slop that nobody asked for. Karen adds, for those saying it took them too long, I'd rather people do their due diligence and be as sure as possible before kicking somebody out of a show. It's a hell of a thing, and a false accusation and removal will be devastating. That's one of the things I hate about all of this. AI is poisoning the world. So, a commenter by the name of Wartooth Designs adds, if anyone was wondering, it was booth A10 and the artist is OG Art Official on Instagram. It's private now. The artist allegedly was being rude AF too. A little article about it with screenshots. So there is an article. And again, let me add a disclaimer, don't send hate to the parties involved, okay? So the article was published September 1st, today, by Rich Johnson to bleedingcool.com. And the title reads, Police called on artists accused of selling AI art at DragonCon. The police were called. The vendor is named Oriana Guerrez. This is public information on their own Instagram page. And it adds that DragonCon currently lacks a clear public policy addressing AI art in its artist alley or exhibition guidelines. So here are some photos where you can see this is the convention booth and there are what looks to be police involved in kicking them out. And this is an Instagram screen cap from Sean Crystal. And here are some more photos from Dane of Monkey Minion. And here are some more videos. This is a video posted by Ink Pulp where you can see this is their booth and this is somebody in the background kind of taking everything down. Can you call police for this removal? I don't know, but it looks like apparently police or convention security was involved in the removal for this vendor. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You do need some sort of supervision to kind of kick people out. I think it's funny. Here we have Karen in the comment section commenting clap, clap, clap. And this is another user on Threads, the Caleb King, writing AI slop gets shut down and escorted out of here at DragonCon. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So here you can see they're walking by and the booth is being removed. Oh, so it's literally police as they are removing elements of their booth. Wow, that is wild. According to the article, the event DragonCon doesn't actually have specific rules about selling AI, which I do think if conventions currently don't have rules about, hey, guys, in our artist alley, AI is not allowed because you are not an artist if you generate images and claim that you made it and sell it, okay? This is the artist in question. This is their handle, OG Art Official. They have 11,000 followers, and as of now, their page has been privated. Again, don't send hate to this party, but they have a website called OrianaGuerrezArt.com, and this is their website. And this is the most absurd part to me, and this is always the most absurd part. The artist can draw. Look, there are a whole bunch of paintings here, hand painted. I'm assuming by the artists themselves, right? They have more paintings being sold, original paintings. They have prints of their paintings being sold, a Star Wars collection, right? Let's take a look at the originals. Here, let me take a look at this one. This original painting, acrylic oil on canvas. They can draw. They clearly can. They clearly have the hands to create handmade artwork. Now, I haven't seen photos of what they were selling at the convention, but then to actively make the choice, hey, you know the ability that I have that I worked years to hone so that I could create beautiful works of art. I'm just gonna give that the giant old middle finger and go to Midjourney and type in a bunch of prompts to go generate stuff instead. That always is a bit absurd. It wasn't like they can't draw because they clearly can. I think it's pretty funny too. At the bottom of the website, it reads, note that sole copyright to the associated artworks and prints are fully retained by the artist. Any unauthorized reproduction or commercial use is in violation of US copyright law. Oh, okay, I see. So you can generate stuff with AI, but we can't steal your work. Of course, we should not steal your work. But just think it's interesting to make a choice like that. And then it gets one step worse, okay? There's this post on Blue Sky posted by Lauren Walsh. Lauren writes, I love getting waitlisted for a con so that somebody can sell AI images. It's like my favorite thing. Honestly, if a booth sells AI at a con where it's banned, people should be given the option to get refunds. And then Lauren quote retweets that, adding, okay, on the bright side, the police shut them down and they closed. If you bought anything from the A10 booth in Popped Artist Alley at DragonCon, I definitely recommend charging back your purchases. Glad to see DragonCon took this seriously. Still upset they took the place of an actual artist though. An artist like Lauren, you know? And Lauren adds, oh, and in case you feel bad about charging them back, here you go. Absolute trash person. So these are posted to Karen Hallian Art's Instagram story, and it looks to be a reshare of Ink Pulp's Instagram story.
What
now, this is very alleged, but it looks like a DM exchange between somebody and Oriana, where they send the screenshot where it says, OG Art Official is the AI culprit. And look what Oriana responds with. I share a screenshot of my sales this weekend, but I don't have to show it to give any explanations to you losers. This is another one, reposted by Karen Hallian, originally posted to Ink Pulp Story. And Oriana replies, you guys are sore because you don't sell shit and will be forever broke. Have fun being a broke bee. So you're just gonna be rude and make fun of all of the people that you scammed with AI generated images after getting kicked out by the police from the convention for AI images. Because I don't believe that stuff's art. Yeah, like also, exactly. What sales are you flexing? Because you were kicked out. So you didn't even get to finish selling at the convention. That's so absurd. And yeah, this is Ink Pulp's Instagram story where you can see the vendor taking down elements of the art pieces. This was the call out, right? This is a glimpse of their Instagram page before it went to private. And Ink Pulp writes, somebody wasn't happy I shared this true story. And it continues. And you can see this one. Wow. That is wild. Potentially, you might be able to charge back. I don't know the legalities of that. But I mean, if you went to an artist alley and purchased artwork assuming it was legitimate, it's definitely fraudulent if they defrauded you using AI generated images instead. So there's probably some way around it. I just feel bad for everybody who purchased things from this artist thinking it's legitimate, everybody who got scammed, and that spot that a legitimate artist could have taken to have the opportunity to make money and sell at a convention, and instead it was given to somebody who is so blatant and like cocky about the fact that they are scamming other people. So that's icky. Ew. Yeah, JC, was any of it AI art that was copyrighted characters, or was it their own work but created with AI? We don't know at the end of the day. I haven't seen images of the artwork they were selling at the convention. All we know is the convention determined that it was AI generated images, and as a result they got kicked out for it, and that they basically admitted it, right? Because here's the thing, they have this IG exchange, these DM exchanges with what looks to be Ink Pulp, and they're really cocky, right? If it was a false accusation, then wouldn't they be like, wait, no, it was false. I didn't sell AI. I was falsely evicted. Here's my side of the story. It's none of that. They're just being a cocky a-hole in DMs. This clearly seems like an admission of guilt. It seems like, right? I don't know. I didn't see the images, but that's what it sounds like. Because anybody who is innocent would be denying it, no? It's weird, man. Ugh. There were some photos about the artwork that were circulating online that I can now show you guys. So this is Hair of Glee, and they write, the fake AI art of the vendors that were thrown out of DragonCon look really tacky. So the face of the seller is censored, but you can see in the background, look at the pieces. These are like AI generated IP. So we've got Darth Vader, Batman, Stormtrooper, the Monopoly dude, Pink Panther, with AI graffiti slapped all over it. And then it's a bit blurry, but another example of some like artwork, right? And then this is a really big close up of the AI Rolling Stone Monopoly dude. Again, I feel like I don't need to point it out to you guys. It's like beating a dead horse, but like one thing that we can look at right now, why does Mr. Monopoly Man have 5 fingers on one hand and 4 on the other? You could argue it could be a stylistic choice for him to have 4 fingers instead of 5, but you would at least keep it consistent across the same dude, right? And not to mention we have the Converses with this weird flower stamp logo and the shoelaces that aren't even shoelacing. This is most definitely AI. So how did they get away with doing this at DragonCon? There's this thread posted by Monkey Minion Press, and Monkey Minion writes, I was gonna wait until I slept a bit after DragonCon, but decided not to wait because there's a few different and sensationalized accounts going around about this. Originally posted to Blue Sky because Instagram and Facebook wouldn't let me post the full text. As always, FAI. Dane writes, I was next to one of the AI slop booths at DragonCon, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. So as you may or may not know, there was a booth selling AI slop images printed on acrylic panels at DragonCon. They were in booth A10. I was in booth A11. Here's what happened from my perspective. Thursday during load-in, the folks in charge of that space, a young woman, a young man, a young lady, and an older man, showed up and were clearly displeased with the layout of the area. As they set up their pro panel walls, they began to have issues because their equipment was the wrong size. The staff came and told them to rearrange it, and they did, but not happily. As we were getting ready to leave, they had started to put up product on the walls, and the stuff they started with was, while not to my taste, clearly made by a person. The thread continues, messy paintings of pop culture characters with abstract brushstrokes and a graffiti-style text. Not my thing, but that's how art works. There's something for everyone. This is important for later. Friday, we get in, and the younger woman, Oriana, and the older man are nowhere to be seen. But the young man and older woman who helped set up were there. But there was different stuff in the booth. The paintings were still there, but now so were new images of various anime characters and comic characters, Napoleon and Snoopy, all bloomy and blurry with weird details and various numbers of fingers. I immediately clocked it as AI, but was too busy Friday to get away from my table, to ask somebody about it. Thanks, DragonCon, and too tired by show clothes to track somebody down. I did ask the guy in charge of the booth, quote, so how many different artists do you represent? Because I see like 6 different styles here, end quote. So Dane continues, he replied with, quote, just her, the older lady's daughter and son, end quote. Right. Saturday, staffer and told them, quote, hey, the booth next to mine is selling AI. I know you'll have a policy against that, so I thought you'd like to know. She wrote it down and said she'd tell the AA head. Again, Saturday was crazy, but I saw the AA folks milling around and checking out the products in the booth next door, which was cool. Sorry, AA is like art. They took my observation seriously and at least investigated it. Sunday came around and I saw the Artist Alley folks around me, but the booth was still up, so I assumed they were gonna let them finish out the show and blacklist them. Not ideal, but also not the worst, given how many ways a confrontation during show hours could go sideways. Then Monday came. That morning, I got in at 9:45 and the Artist Alley folks, plus a few others and a cop, were already at the booth. The owners weren't in yet. I got set up, the show opened, and then the booth folks showed up about 15 to 30 minutes late. At which point, the Artist Alley staff descended upon them like avenging angels. They took up positions, creating a wall across the entrance to the booth, telling attendees who stopped they were being removed and no longer available. And the scammers took down their displays and angrily packed their gear and left. The rest of the day passed without incident. Somebody, another artist I think, put a sign in the booth telling attendees and other artists that they were removed from the space for selling AI slop. And then, as often as it happens at DragonCon, it became a shrine for folks to leave offerings at. I had a lot of fun watching people walk by and pose with the empty booth and snap pics of the signs, as well as explaining to anyone who asked what happened. I spoke to the Artist Alley head and he submitted the pop-up paintings for their application and were approved for those. He had no idea they were going to offer AI garbage and started working on the process for deleting them from the show as soon as he learned about it. For more details on that, I suggest reaching out to DragonCon. I thank him, and I'm doing so here again. Thank you for doing it. Confrontation at a convention isn't fun or easy. And that's a story of how one of the AI sloppists at DragonCon got bounced from the show, from the perspective of the guy next door. I apologize for any formatting, weirdness, or typos. I was posting this while the plane home was taxiing. So big dubs to Monkey Minion Press for sounding the horn, sounding the alarm about the AI seller next door, because a lot of people wouldn't have stood up to like call them out on it, because you know it jeopardizes in a way your position as well, right? Of like maybe they might kick you out for being problematic, who knows, right? Which I would argue they would be really left up to do. But this is what sounds like how to sneak in with AI works, because you have to get approved as an artist. So they submitted legitimate art, because again, when we looked at Oriana's website, there are a lot of legitimate looking pieces on there, and then replaced it with the AI works. We have a little bit of extra context from this YouTuber Inkwell. He makes amazing artwork. Like I have one of his pieces up in my kitchen, but he was vending at DragonCon, although he was, from what he described, like away from the booth, so he didn't really get to like fully see it. So the people at the booth like produced a speed paint to show DragonCon staff, and this is allegedly the speed paint that was shown, which, okay, Inkwell says this in his video, and if you are an artist, okay, this is not a speed paint. This is a photo slideshow of a bunch of progressions of an art piece, which is very easily faked, okay? So this is why it's like a video slideshow like this is not going to be proof that your art is legitimate, because we didn't see you put brushstrokes down. We are seeing a bunch of photos smashed together in a 7-second GIF. And then also secondly, this is not indicative of the art they were selling. They were selling art that looked like this. These are two very, very different styles. So you, hypothetically, if this was a legitimate drawing of a Japanese woman with a bunch of fans floating on water with a bunch of lily pads and koi fish around her, that is not the same as this pop art graffiti piece of Monopoly Man playing an electric guitar on the cover of Rolling Stones. Not the same thing. So it's looking real weird. But that's the extra context to the DragonCon seller, this seller, who was rightfully tossed out for AI work. And also, for a little bit extra context for what Inkwell said, it was Oriana and her boyfriend, when they were asked, hey, why does your art pieces look like they were made by a whole bunch of different people, right? They were like, at first they were like, oh, well, some of it's my art, some's my boyfriend's art. And then later they were like, oh, it's like a art collective. some is like Oriana's parents are also selling their art here, which is why it looks like it's made by 4 different people. Because it was, but they're all like part of our group, blah, 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 blah. Made by, I don't know, 2 different people, okay? You got freaking you got Midjourney, you got, what other like generative AI image softwares are there? Like, I don't know, freaking the Google Vimo thing is like videos, but you know what I'm talking about. It's made by me and AI, okay? And that already is illegal according to Dragon Con's TOS because proxy sellers are not allowed, and selling somebody else's artwork that you didn't make is proxy selling. So that is the end of it. Well, they got booted out, rightfully so, but it still sucks that a legitimate artist wasn't able to vend in that spot because that spot was given to somebody who was deliberately trying to scam DragonCon by submitting artwork and then taking the legitimate artwork, I guess, down and putting AI work to sell. That's crazy. What are your thoughts on the entire DragonCon situation? Do you think it was fair for them to be thrown out for AI illustrations? Do you think it wasn't due to the fact that DragonCon didn't really explicitly state that in their contract? And again, don't send hate to the artists involved. They clearly can draw, they have hands, but to choose to not do that is an interesting choice. And with the snarky responses on top of that. Anyways, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators like emotes, overlays, and stuff. I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers and creators, and I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. Hope to catch you guys there or in another video. Peace.
So many titles to explore, but so little time. There has to be a clever way to organize these topics after all. I need to boost that YouTube revenue. Oh great, I just wrapped things up with Cleve, and now I have to deal with more imbeciles in my network. Mitchell, hey! I didn't mean you. How could I ever insult the person who created me? And Roz Trump too. What's up? Yozzy, you need to take a breather, mate. Why? I have to keep the YouTube algorithm satisfied. Do you realize how many channels spiral downhill if they don't upload new content regularly? You just spent 2 hours critiquing every Crash Bandicoot game not long ago. Right, and thanks for calling me schmaltzy. Also, why aren't you on camera? I'm camera shy, you know that. No wonder people still ask for a face reveal. What was that? Nothing! Man, you sound like a girl. Anyways, I suggest taking a break. I might take over things for now. Okay, and what riveting topics are you planning to tackle? Picking 10 of my worst videos. Yozzy, are you still there? Nope, he ran off. The mere mention of your old videos must have scared him. Not surprised there. Hey, Roz Trump. Hey, Mitchell. Thought I'd tackle this subject matter today. Nobody else would be brave enough to do it. Yozzy ran off, and I'm pretty sure YP would freak out if he knew. Oh, you mean the red stick figure demon? Yeah, him. Make sure he doesn't find out, okay? You got it. You won't be looking at this for the whole time. I've been making YouTube videos since The mere mention of your old videos must have scared him. Not surprised there. Hey, Roz Trump. Hey, Mitchell. Thought I'd tackle this subject matter today. Nobody else would be brave enough to do it. Yozzy ran off, and I'm pretty sure YP would freak out if he knew. Oh, you mean the red stick figure? Be looking at this for the whole... I've been making YouTube videos since 2010, back when I was only 11. Oh god. Back then it was a simpler time, just about having fun with videos that, regardless of their quality, are enjoyable to revisit. However, every young creator faces a hurdle when starting out on YouTube. You're gonna suck. And why wouldn't you? You're not skilled in video editing or writing, there will be some missteps. And that's perfectly fine, it's all part of the learning process. You'd be extremely lucky if you managed to build a following from day one. As the years progress, you'll gain insights, particularly from the constructive comments you receive. In my situation, however, my channel remained so small for a long time that there was no one to point out the poor quality of my videos, so why did I just talk about the enjoyment of old YouTube videos? The answer is simple. I feel that way about my own. If I were to analyze each video I created in the 2010s regarding their quality or lack thereof, we'd be here all day. Plus, there's a certain charm with the old plush videos or older reviews I made, because editing skills aside, these remind me of those simpler times when life wasn't such a gamble and videos could feel fun to make. I may pity them from time to time, but videos like these actually don't get as much scorn as I would like to give them. Today, however, I'm going to be focusing on 10 of the absolute worst videos/content I've ever produced on this channel. Videos so dreadful that even in my younger days, I recognize their awfulness. Just gonna warn you, some of these are so horrible that they've actually been deleted off my channel for ages. I still have them on my hard drive, but if I expose one more person to some of these, I'm gonna go to jail. Most of these are focused on video reviews where I made some really stupid arguments, but occasionally I'll sprinkle in something out of the norm. I didn't mean you. This won't necessarily count the bad opinions I have, because if I did, I'd have the 2 unpopular opinions videos on here. Let's just say I don't look back fondly on the time I talked Gumball. That show is actually great, and I was an idiot for thinking otherwise for the wrong reasons. Anyway, sit back and relax, and try to tolerate what I'm about to put you through. These are the top 10 worst videos on the Yossi Bloke or Yoshi Player YouTube channel. Started this channel. First, I guess, genre I decided to dive into were plush videos. Some of my favorite channels at the time were Cute Mario Brothers and... Oh yeah, Yossi banned that word. So I wanted to take a stab at them, and I clearly got carried away because I did so many shows. There's the toy show, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows about, but there was also Studies Discovery, Super Mario Adventures, Angry Birds. Ugh. I have no idea why I committed to doing this many shows when most of them featured the same location and even same characters, but the worst one by far is Stupid Yoshi Adventures. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Stupid Yoshi Adventures. God, that logo looks ugly. Yeah, I'm putting the entire show at this spot because every video is the same thing. Most of my plush videos were created entirely by me, meaning I was responsible for every character's movement, voice, and action. This time, however, I collaborated with a friend of mine while we were just having fun with our Yoshi plushies. It's clear these videos were thrown together quickly. The plot is practically non-existent, the voice acting is terrible, and the lighting condition is just... If you're gonna feature a black and white Yoshi as the main character in a show like this, you should probably make it possible for us to see them properly. Another problem affecting these videos, which is also seen in some others, is the audio mixing. Yossi mentioned in his Pooh's Adventures video how Windows Movie Maker works, right? That was the software I used until about 2016. At that time, audio mixing wasn't a priority for me, and to illustrate my point, just listen to the audio suffering I accepted back then.
Get the ghost, get the ghost, get the ghost! Come forward, come help me get the ghost!
It's kind of fun to look back and reflect on these dumb videos my friend and I used to make, but good lord, if these were supposed to make me look like a good plush tuber, then I'd still look better than Anime Bromy.
Shut your mouth, woman. That is not how you treat like a woman, sir.
Fun fact, by the way, do you know what I used to film the old plush videos with back in the day? My 3DS. Throughout the years of managing my channel, I've been learning to animate. While I realize that I'll likely never match the skills of more seasoned professionals, I believe I've absorbed enough of the fundamental techniques to create the cartoons I want to share with my audience. You might be curious about what one of those fundamental principles is, and I'll tell you. Don't turn your cartoon into a PowerPoint presentation. I know I was bound to mention the original Styx cartoons eventually, but you might be surprised by their low ranking. To be honest, if I hadn't produced so many terrible videos, it might have placed higher, but that's where I stand. Just by glancing at them, you can identify one of the many flaws within the original Styx series. Okay, perhaps that's a bad example. To be fair, I was clueless about using Flash back then, so all I could manage was to create some PNGs of the Styx characters, assemble them in Windows Movie Maker, and create a cartoon. That doesn't excuse how terrible they look, and would you believe me that some of the artwork was actually stolen from other cartoons? This particular shot features a gambling machine taken from an episode of Dick Figures, and several characters' mouths are identical to those seen in Dick Figures as well. Altogether, it's an animation disaster that barely qualifies as animation at all. Speaking of Dick Figures, let's move on to the second issue. It's an imitation, not only in art style, but also in tone, writing style, and the way many of the characters come off as jerks. That worked for a show like Dick Figures where it's supposed to be mean-spirited, but Styx was nothing like it. The episode concepts are strikingly similar, and hell, even the music is frequently lifted from it. I won't argue with anyone that claims that modern Styx is also a knockoff, but I do like to think I've tried to differentiate it as much as possible, viewing it as more of a source of inspiration rather than a complete rip-off. The third problem? Voice acting. Much like the plush videos, all the voices were done by myself, and you can tell.
Nice hair. Thanks. No one really says that very often. Yeah.
They are appalling. Narratives weren't direct copies of Dick Figures, they're still executed poorly, with special mention of course being the Piranha episode from season 2, containing a plot where Jacob willingly puts his best friend in danger with a piranha that ends up eating half of his face at the end. You can see why I chose to make fun of it in the remake. While I do hold a modicum of fondness for those old Styx episodes, I've decided that they are no longer canon. Any references I make to them now are purely of mockery rather than veneration. If there's one thing that remains the same in both iterations, it's that Alan is still the best. Okay, so now we're getting into the first of many reviews I have on this list. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of them. Now, back in the earlier days of my reviews, I didn't confine myself to just games and movies, I also explored webtoons. The one webtoon I've discussed the most is undoubtedly Happy Tree Friends, having created not one, but 2 separate videos about it. The first one was a bit of a mess, filled with whiny rants and lacking a script. That's not a lie, by the way, but since this current review is more in-depth, I decided to include it here. Before I continue, I want to clarify that my motive for including these older reviews isn't solely based on my opinions. It's also not that I've changed my stance, because I still don't like Happy Tree Friends all that much, but nowadays my feelings towards it boil down to one key point. It simply isn't for me. I get why others may appreciate it, but its repetitive formula tends to wear thin after a while. There's only so much you can do with having all your characters being killed in grotesque ways. I do find some of the cast endearing, hell, Lumpy might even be a comfort character for me, but the reason I include videos like this on my list is due to their construction. In the case of my Happy Tree Friends review, it's often because I make absurdly weak arguments that even a teenager could debunk. A recurring theme in many of my older reviews is my tendency to generate numerous arguments for why something is bad without researching why that point is valid, all an attempt to make myself sound professional or because I believe it reflects a more accurate perspective. Not only is it condescending, but it makes it funnier when I do present a bad argument and proceed to get shunned for it in the comments section. For example, one of my primary critiques in the video is that the characters lack personality and development. What personality is this character supposed to have? Or this one? Or this one? It's hard to tell. And when you can't define a character, that's very bad. It's inconsistent and they only exist just to die. If it were a story-driven show, that point might carry some weight. The problem is that it's Happy Tree Friends. I won't pretend the show's characters are deep, because they're not. But just by looking at them, their personalities are pretty clear. Lumpy represents the foolish one. Handy is the disabled character. Lifty and Shifty are the criminals. Nutty is candy-obsessed. And Flaky is the helpless one I want to protect. And you think these characters lack personality? Seriously, mate. Furthermore, complaining about their one-dimensional nature is misguided. It's an episodic cartoon that doesn't prioritize plot or character development. My other significant argument is that the show's gore makes the show hard to watch, which is somewhat valid. I understand that gore can be excessive, especially in the television episodes, but I clearly misrepresented it by implying that the gore is always this extreme, when in reality it's not. There are many instances where it's actually quite tame. Sure, it can be overwhelming at times, like in the episode Tongue in Cheek, which is still the worst episode by far, but really I could have simply stated that the gore isn't to my taste. And by the way, that episode was so bad that even the creators acknowledged they went too far, so not exactly a good argument. Put simply, this video perfectly exemplifies the condescending tone of I don't like it, so it's bad. Happy Tree Friends isn't a show that warrants this level of outrage. It's not meant to be profound. While I respect your right to dislike it, mate, you need to come up with more reasonable arguments. And by the way, comparing it to South Park isn't a good one either.
It is so.
Oh great, how'd you get out?
I tried, but somehow his noodle arms were stronger than me.
I'll have you know that I have a perfectly valid reason for hating this show. How can you watch such a nothing burger where all the characters die?
I don't know, it's not that bad.
Well, actually,
Oh, shut up, mate. Why do you always have such a condescending tone?
Because I'm better than you.
Okay, fine. If Roz Trump can't take you down, I have someone else who can do that.
What's up? What, that big plump dope is gonna stop me? He doesn't even have arms! Oh god, that hurts! That hurts so bad! I feel like I'm in a Happy Tree Friends episode!
Oh yeah, I forgot to whisper all your screams. Wait, what's the tattoo? The video I'm about to discuss was so bad that it's actually been lost to time. Like, it wasn't just deleted off my channel, I literally can't find it anywhere. I've tried. So I won't spend too much time here, but to try to go off memory, it's time to talk about it. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, that's it. I can't believe Yachty does this. Locking me out of his sense. Ban list. Okay, let's try. SML review. There we go.
Did someone say SML?
As much as I've tried to avoid talking about SML any longer on this channel, I'm gonna make an exception this one time. For those who've been here since 2015, you'll remember my extensive SML review catalogue. Some were decent, some were not, but the absolute worst thing, without a doubt, was my Cody's birthday review. Most of these old SML reviews have since been lost to time, minus the top 6 biggest problems with SML video, yet the distinct backfire of the Cody's birthday review remained crystal clear in my memory. The primary flaw? I didn't actually watch the video in its entirety before reviewing it. I essentially just cherry-picked moments that annoyed me and strung them together. If you're curious about how that idea came to be, I'm gonna let my friend Oscar explain what happened. Take it away, man.
Yeah, so normally I'm here kind of joking around and everything, but here I'm going to be a little more me for a few minutes, if you don't mind. Because this whole video was entirely my fault. He made this inspired by my video. My video's still up, so if you, it's private. It's unlisted, but you can go to my thing and watch it, and you'll see if you've never seen it before, it is pretty much the same thing, except he's yelling and he's yelling too. It's him instead of me. And at the time, we were both very negative toward SML. I mean, we both especially are, because of how scummy he is. But that's besides the point. At the time, I still really do consider it the worst video, at least in my opinion. And at the time, and I said that too, that at the time I considered it the worst SML video at that time as well. And after I described it the way I did, he got so angry and pissed off that, like, he made a video, I think, in that next day or so, after I made mine. And the thing is, since I don't have nearly as a big following as he does, for obvious reasons, he got so much more backlash than I did. But he was so upset by all the backlash behind the whole thing. And then, later, as he kind of grew and matured, and he saw why he got all that backlash. Because out of the both of us, I'm the only one out of the both of us who actually saw the video at the time. And he just kind of wanted to, I guess at the time, if I had to take a guess, and you can clarify with this with me, you were just sick of SML. So you basically just found an opportunity to go off on him. Because I feel like that's something you really wanted to do, but didn't have a reason to do it. Yeah, but the reason why the video came to be was he was inspired by my video, because I did at that time and still consider it the worst SML video. Anyway, hold on a sec. You ripped me up!
I inherently find it silly to get truly angry at anything fictional unless it's genuinely harmful. That's why I shifted my negative traits onto Yozzy, but even still, it was a complete misdirection and a total waste of effort, energy, and time. This video actually triggered my first significant drama within the SML community. While I still loathe this video, and honestly the entire SML channel itself, I'm grateful it's been lost to time. I literally never want to see it again. Yeah, you knew I couldn't leave this one off the list. It might seem unfair to put the whole Stick series at the 9th spot and then include the movie in a separate one, but this one speaks for itself. I made a whole video years ago talking about why it's bad, so I recommend watching that if you want a more in-depth review, but to summarize, the animation, while a step up from the original show, still falls flat for its horrible lip-syncing and motions, and don't even get me started on the blatantly copied backgrounds from other better sources that are borders on artistic negligence. moments. The characters are either horribly unlikable or completely idiotic, especially Jacob and Larry in their worst appearances by far.
And we have to go all the way back, probably too late, because of—
Larry, stop screaming all the time. The voice acting is worse than something you'd hear in a Kingdom Hearts game, but above all else, the story, to put it mildly, is atrocious. We're not just talking about a plot that outright copies so many narrative beats from Dick Figures the movie, but we also have to contend with the monumental stupidity of making one of the primary motivators behind Jacob and Larry embarking on their quests is so they can have fun, because their lives, you see, are just so shameless. And the plot holes that get in the way actively make the viewing experience worse, and my suspension of disbelief isn't just strained, it's also been shredded and set on fire. Seriously, how the hell did a celestial being, an actual angel, just conveniently land in the specific city that Jacob and Larry live in? How did Zoe and Stella manage to cross half the globe with seemingly no resources, track Jacob and Larry down, and then just pop up exactly where they were? How did Jacob and Larry manage to dig their way out of prison when they're on the 3rd floor? But most importantly, the most unforgivable narrative decision? Where's Shadow? He needs his Chaos Emeralds! I got nothing. The video perfectly illustrates everything wrong with this movie, and I can't bear the thought of discussing it any longer. Not even Alan was able to save it this time. Sorry, buddy. It's okay. You are not perfect, Mitchell. Alright, so now that we've reached the halfway point, we're about to get into the videos that are actually impossible to sit through. I'm not kidding when I say that I can't watch any of these for more than 5 minutes without getting annoyed, frustrated, or just plain baffled. These videos are so stupid to the point where I have to look at myself in the mirror and ask, are we even the same person? I know it's easy to say that now, but seriously, back when I was trying to form some cohesive opinions on the things I like or dislike, the actions committed clearly gave off the wrong vibe. And the best video I'm picking to start with that is my Minions movie rant. At the start of the rant, I clumsily tried to think up, again, completely improvised, reasons I even bothered to make it in the first place. The film at the time had surpassed Toy Story 3 and The Lion King at the box office. As if box office gross is some kind of universal metric for artistic merit, that is not, has never been, and never will be a substitute for quality. Yes, it absolutely sucks when a movie you genuinely dislike makes a lot of money. I literally felt the same disappointment with that Lilo and Stitch remake. But if you use that as a primary or even secondary reason for why the movie sucks, you're not just dense, you're lazy. It's funny because to this day I still think the Minions movie is a plain
No, Nick not always messes with me.
But the points I attempted to make in that rant are not only poorly structured but practically non-existent. It's just me incoherently raging about the box office performance and how the Minions themselves are annoying, which, yes they are, but the overall tone and the whiny delivery of my points absolutely ruin the intent. This is the video equivalent of watching a petulant teenage boy getting angry because he couldn't rent that one movie he really liked from Blockbuster because his parents dared to choose something new and different. And that's what this video embodies. It's incoherent, it's stupid, it's lazy, it's a mess. And I don't want this piece of to represent how I feel about a movie I dislike, because I know I can do better than this. And how contradicting is it for you to say it's just my opinion, I won't get mad at you if you don't like what I say, and then follow it up with,
if you are gonna disrespect my opinions, I'll be really mad.
You idiot. Picture this. You're a content creator, or rather, an animator in this case. You make an internet cartoon that ends up getting over 100 million views. What are the consequences to that? Hate. You get a lot of them. And in the case of this Spot's video, Flash Skits most definitely did. Yep, it's time to talk about my infamous racist Mario review, or rather, the third video I made on this video. Yes, really, I hated this thing so much that I thought 3 reviews of it were good enough. The first 2 have been lost to time, and I'm not interested in finding them, but the third one has got to be the worst by far. First off, I was looking at a dumb internet cartoon which was roughly 3 minutes long, and my genius mind decided it warranted a sprawling 12-minute discussion. And what groundbreaking criticism did I offer during this runtime? Well, one of the big ones was that Mario was acting cruel and completely out of character, as if the very title Racist Mario didn't immediately parody. Of course Mario is not going to be in character. This isn't an official product. You're taking this way too seriously, May, and I know that because at the start of the video you say,
This is going to be a pretty review.
it's a 3-minute YouTube cartoon. You act like it just axed your dog. Jesus Christ. Then there was the full-blown crisis I went on about how the video makes no sense because Mario is killing all the Nintendo characters and yet it's called Racist Mario. Even though at the start of the video Mario clearly says, "You're all race traitors!" Did you not pick up on that, or can you not understand English? I then proceeded to condescendingly compare it to media made by bigger studios, namely Mondo Media with Happy Tree Friends, because clearly a crude internet parody from small independent animators should be held to the same caliber of a studio-produced web cartoon. Let's not forget this video was another prime example of the sheer blinding anger I mustered.
Does this bring you back to my criticism? Am I really taking this video too seriously?
Yes, you do! You cannot like the video if you want, but why are you acting like Flash Gets owes you an apology for making a dumb internet cartoon? I even went as far as to shame the video for daring to make fun of racism.
The jokes aren't centered towards a serious topic. Yeah, that's another reason I'm bringing about this video. It basically pokes fun at a serious topic.
Mate, if you ever say you don't take things seriously and then follow it up with that, you're stupider than the dumbest cartoon character. Comedy has always been a mirror of real life, and while I won't judge you for disliking offensive jokes, that's not the argument being made here. You are accusing this video for glorifying racism. Heck, this video is so bad that I'd even have to retract a defense I made of racist Mario's animation being better than Happy Tree Friends, which I don't agree with anymore, because Happy Tree Friends at least has appealing art style, minus all the gore. Happy Tree Friends animation isn't great, but at least they didn't trace over character renders. Despite all my frustrations with this review, I still don't like Racist Mario all that much, but I can simply say I don't find it funny and move on. I would never, nor could I justify unleashing a 12-minute tirade over a 3-minute internet cartoon. If any of my own over-the-top hate has reached the guys at Flash Gits, I apologize, and I was always in the wrong. Through this entire review, I hate it. Okay, so this one I actually don't have too much to talk about because it's a rather short video running just under 5 minutes, but my god, it is actual torture to sit through. The time I decided to make a video responding to the Kids' Choice Awards is appalling to say the least. This is actually one of the few videos that I hated even back when I made it. Since I'm a lover of cartoons, I always paid attention to the Kids' Choice Awards' favorite cartoon award. One reason I did was because I was always hoping for each and every year that SpongeBob would finally lose. It never happened aside from 2008. It's no surprise that the Kids' Choice Awards is rigged, but that somehow didn't cross my mind back then, and I found it necessary to make a melodramatic video talking about why the KCAs are awful and why SpongeBob didn't deserve to win. This video might now be a good time to bring up a different problem my review started to face as I was getting older, and it was the way I spoke.
I finally realized, okay, this is rigged. This is clearly all Nickelodeon's idea.
Consistently, I change my accent between an Australian and American accent, and it is pure ear torture. Anyway, yeah, this video is completely melodramatic, and you can tell right away because of the sad music in the background.
But unfortunately, it didn't win. SpongeBob won again.
I did this a lot back then. A lot. Just to sell how serious a video was meant to be, but it's so stupid. I feel like my words should be all there is to justify something serious, but 1, sad music doesn't help, it just makes you sound more pretentious and annoying, and 2, this is the Kids' Choice Award. It's not an epic. What are you doing? Frankly, I don't know what's worse, the fact I was getting angry towards a stupid Kids Awards show, or the show that I wanted to win was the fucking Loud House. The comments don't exist for it anymore, but I remember most of them were very funny. I hope you stay in the hole of privacy forever, you piece of shit. You all knew this one was coming. The top 10 worst cartoons video, or rather, the original one that I did. And while I may not like the new one all that much, the old one is a sight to behold. The year was 2016, and after I saw several reviewers like Phantom Strider and Mr. Enter doing videos on 10 worst cartoons of the decade or worst cartoons ever, I thought if I did something like that, I might get a high view count. And I did. Oh Boy, did I get a
real.
high view count. It's still one of the top 10 most watched videos on my channel, and that fact alone sickens me. And the cherry on top was that I decided to drag my good friend Nick Figures into the conversation. It's a miracle he didn't start hating me after what happened. But yeah, that's problem number one. The video is a byproduct of internet viewership. I assumed that if I made something similar to those content creators I watch, that means I'll get a lot of views. Problem two, Nick. He barely says a thing in this video, and when he does, it's only on the cartoons he himself has actually seen. Great way to make a collab video, mate. Bring in someone to do all and say nothing on several cartoons on this list. Really tells you which one is to blame for the video's quality, huh? Third problem. Remember when I mentioned Phantom Strider? Yeah, I also stole footage from his video from mine, without checking to remove his editing or even crediting him in the original cut. I did re-release it to include it later, but the fact of the matter is, that was blatant plagiarism. Fourth problem. I inexplicably included SpongeBob and Family Guy, but only certain seasons. Worst seasons doesn't equate to worst cartoons, you idiot. Fifth problem. The arguments made no sense. I included a rough close-up of SpongeBob from SpongeBob You're Fired on screen, claiming it represented the weird gross out in seasons 4 to 8, which is factually wrong because SpongeBob You're Fired is from season 9. And it was another stolen clip from these guys. I'm so sorry. There was also me blasting Pickle and Peanut for having just two guys voice most of the characters because that fact was wrong, and even if it were true, what's wrong with a versatile voice actor? Matt Stone and Trey Parker do most of the voices in South Park, but you didn't bitch about that now, did you? And problem, the entire video hinged on popular opinion. Teen Titans Go landed at number 1, not because it was genuinely awful, but because it was the cool thing to despise. Why else would it be at number 1? I could go on, but I think most of you get it. The video is despised by many for a good reason, so much so that there's even a video on why it sucks made by someone named what do you this person isn't on YouTube anymore, and that's for the best. Bottom line, this video. It's the classic example of me chasing trends only to trip over my own words that couldn't even be communicated properly. If you're watching this, Nick, I'm sorry I dragged you through the mud with me. So, you might be surprised why the top 10 worst cartoons video didn't make it to number 1. It got close, don't get me wrong, but this next one? I literally can't look at it for more than a millisecond without feeling sick to my stomach. And the funniest part is, it's not even for absolutely everything I said in it. What video is that, you might be wondering? You may not even know it exists at all. That's because I deleted it. Yes, not private, not unlisted, deleted off my channel. I still have it on my PC, and as of the time I'm recording this, I may re-upload it on my second channel, but trust me, it's not for the faint of heart. I'm talking about a rant video I did on Fortnite. This video being a mess doesn't even fathom the hatred I have for it. This video is borderline, no, flat out is disgusting. I don't have self-hatred, but if I did, this video would be one of the motivators. Much like the worst cartoons video, the initial motivation to making this was a cynical attempt to chase trends. I genuinely believed that ranting on a massive game like Fortnite would instantly garner views. And it's funny because the video didn't even do that well. This has a lot of the same problems earlier videos had on this list and then some. I always laugh at the claim that Fortnite killed the shooting genre. 7 years have passed since I spewed that claim, and that blatant contradiction to it is hilarious. The shooting genre isn't dead, mate, and it probably never will be. There was the claim that the game looked ugly, which, yeah, in terms of today's graphics, it's not the best looking game, but nowadays I think Fortnite has more distinct artistic flair than most titles currently released. Also, that's an asinine statement to begin with, because who the judges games by their graphics? I don't play games for graphics, I play them to have fun. And okay, Fortnite's not a great game, but it has more depth than you think it does. To call it ugly was not only narrow-minded, but also fundamentally unfair criticism. There was also the fact I condemned the game for its microtransactions, which... why? Fortnite is a free-to-play game. It's not like they're locking key fundamental gameplay styles behind paywalls. It's merely cosmetics and useless stuff you don't need. If it were a game you had to pay for like CTR Nitro Fueled where you had extra characters to unlock, that would make a little more sense, but even still, it's a worthless argument. Don't even get me started on the argument against its music. Yes, I may prefer the music in Splatoon, but what track did you try to use to justify Fortnite's music as bad? The lobby music. Come on, mate. And I couldn't forget this moment.
Fortnite is the best game ever, and if you disagree, then you're as bad as Hitler. Give me a break. I have seen countless amounts of kids doing this type of to other people, and I do not find any of this to be funny.
Oh my god, you absolute man-child. You're taking offense to kids telling you your opinion on the game sucks and you should be condemned to hell for it. You were 19 when this video came out. A legal adult. Grow the up, you baby. Also, why are you blaming children for getting addicted to Fortnite when it's the responsibilities of the parents you should be concerned about? Do you just hate children? The worst part about this whole rant, though, without question, is that the video I used to justify calling the community bad was a stream clip of someone hitting their partner off screen, which I'm not going to show for obvious reasons. But the sheer audacity of me to use to justify the game bad, or to broadly represent the entire Fortnite community is legitimately irredeemable. There's no excusing it. That is, without a doubt, the lowest I've ever sunk on this entire channel, and I cannot forgive myself for doing that. And to add insult to injury, I shamelessly threw a former friend of mine under the bus, criticizing them for their genuine affection for Fortnite and claiming it made them destructive. And seriously, old me, f you. The game itself isn't to blame for a person's behavior. Any game, or indeed any interest, can be misused to lead to unhealthy patterns. Blaming Fortnite was a cheap, excuse, and I am disgusted it had to get this far. That fact alone was enough to put this at number 1, as I am absolutely striving to make sure I never make a video like this again. I hate this video more than anything I have ever done on this channel. But you know what? Despite everything I've talked about today, I think it's important to have videos like this to reflect on. If we didn't, we wouldn't grow. We wouldn't know how to get better, and we wouldn't know how to improve our content. It might hurt to see people saying bad things about you, but unless it's mindless criticism, how else are you gonna improve? I might hate these videos to the core, but in a way, I'm still glad they exist. Without them, I can't reflect on the history of my fumbles, but also the growth I've had. I have an incredible community who have been around for longer than I've asked them to be, and I'm grateful for it. Grateful to everything. The good things, the bad things, you name it. I have no idea where my channel will go, but I'm excited for it. And if more bad things come, I hope I can improve from them just as much as I did before. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay. We're human, we're real, we're here. Let's enjoy those moments as they come and reflect on our journeys. Whew. Finally, I got all that off my chest. Is anyone still there? I'm sorry, I'm such a failure. Oh, calm down, mate. I already said nobody's perfect.
I'll take it from here. And thank God you stopped talking. That speech almost made me sleep.
Thanks, Ross Trump. Oh, I'm back. What a lovely nap I had. What'd I miss? A lot. Did you get to cringe at some truly terrible stuff? Hey, at least I got through most of them. Barely. You ran off like a coward. Hey, I'll have you know I've looked at cringe before. You ever heard of Pooh's Adventures? Alright, wise guy. I'll leave you to it. He's such a goof. Now, how am I gonna figure out what games to review next? Wait. What's that noise? Oh god. I just realized something. My tattoo is gone!
It's not 9/11.
Here Comes Mumphy. Back in 1975, Catherine Tozer's Mumphy books had been adapted into a television puppet show titled Here Comes Mumphy, and the show has become extremely obscure. 52 episodes of this show had been created, and so far the only episodes of the series that have resurfaced since come from a very rare VHS tape, known as 2 Hours of Fun with the Munch Bunch and Mumphy, that was originally released in April of 1983. The VHS release contains 6 episodes. These episodes, along with half an episode uploaded to YouTube back in 2012, and a Persian dubbed episode also uploaded to YouTube back in 2012, are the only episodes known to exist. No other footage of this show has been found or recovered since. The majority of Here Comes Mumphy has become lost. Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. All the way back in August of 2007, a video was uploaded onto YouTube titled Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. This video was a low-quality fake, step-by-step tutorial made in Windows Movie Maker showing how to unlock Luigi in Super Mario 64. At the end of the video, the infamous KV zombie commercial jump scare would appear, and then finished with credits scrolling down from the top. In 2012, the video had been deleted by the uploader due to hate and criticism. The video became quite iconic. It gained over 900,000 views before it got deleted. Many people over the years have been trying to find this video, however it remains lost to this day. The only footage that has survived of this long-lost video is a reaction video, in which you can kinda see some footage of the video's jump scare and ending on the computer screen. And the thumbnail to the video had been found through the Wayback Machine, which is apparently an exact frame from the 2-minute and 56-second mark of the video. Hopefully this long-lost YouTube video is found soon. Family Guy Online. Family Guy Online was an MMORPG that was available to play from 2012 to 2013, based on the animated series Family Guy, believe it or not. In this online game, you were able to customize your own Family Guys and complete many missions given to you by many different characters from the series. It was not making much money at all, so it was shut down, and Family Guy Online hasn't been playable since. I would love to see this game get a remake sometime soon. I feel like it would actually become quite popular if they brought it back. Roblox Jump Scare Virus. On the Lost Media Wiki forums, a user who goes by Mikey G had made a post discussing a lost Roblox jump scare. This is what they had to say. Back in 2011-2012, there was a YouTube video showcasing some Windows 7 software that appears to hack Roblox and give the user free Robux, the currency of Roblox. However, the download link in the description contained a file that jump scares the victim by going full screen, displaying a poorly drawn screaming face on a black background, with multiple lines of text saying F you flying around the screen while playing extremely loud mariachi band music. This video was pretty popular, around 10k views. There were multiple comments on the video such as got in trouble with my parents because I didn't have headphones, and press Ctrl-Alt-Delete to close it. If you know anything about it, please let me know. This sounds super interesting. I have covered a lot of lost YouTube jump scare videos, but this is different. This was a video that contained a download link which would jump scare you. This would have messed me up as a kid if I fell for this. This video had apparently 10,000 views. I know that's really not much, but maybe someone watching this remembers the video and this jump scare virus thing, and maybe still have the jump scare download on an older laptop or computer. They went on to say that it was screen recorded, had no commentary, with video editing / inspect element